Dublin Marine and Yamaha Motorsports has been a part of this community since 1973. Drop by today and see David Brown and his staff at Dublin Marine. Exceptional customer service, great prices, and quality products. You can always depend on Dublin Marine, 1321 North Jefferson Street, Dublin. Don't haul your private documents somewhere else to be destroyed. We can shred your documents at your home or office. Just call Mitchell Tanner and his staff at Shred Cycle, 272-0595. Shred it and forget it. Shred Cycle of Dublin.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Dublin High Fighting Irish. We're going to call this the quarterfinal show, Coach.
That's it.
That's what we're going to call it. We'll recap the victory that we had against Bremen last week. Hard fought game. We knew it was going to be a pretty much of a defensive struggle with the team they brought in here. And I've got to give it to our defense. I mean, they really stepped up. I think your secondary had 5 interceptions. DJ Wright with a pick 6.
Well, Jaquez Evans had one of those interceptions at defensive end, and him and DJ, as you said, both of them had pick 6s. Man, what a great night defensively. All 4 defensive backs had an interception. Our front, our defensive line controlled the line of scrimmage, did a great job. Was able to get pressure on their quarterback.
Secondary has really come into their own the last 3 weeks.
Well, we're getting better back there. Obviously now when we get on later on in the show and start talking about this bunch from Hateville, we're going to have to continue to get better back there. But, you know, at the end of the day, having a good pass rush a lot of times helps with your secondary coverage.
Right.
And we made a decision a couple of 3 weeks ago that we wanted to put Jaquez Evans' hand back on the ground opposite Romello Height at defensive end. We thought that would increase our ability to harass the quarterback a little bit, and it has.
He'd been playing outside linebacker for us.
He'd been playing outside linebacker and doing a very good job for us there. But when you look at the scheme of things and the type of people that we've been playing, we're using a lot of 4 wide formations and this and that. That allowed the other teams to remove Jaquez far away from where a lot of the action was going on, and then there were a lot of times that it forced us to get Romello Height and Jaquez on the same side.
Coach Nick Collins had a good idea. Your defensive coordinator, I'm sure he had a lot to say in that, in getting his hand back on the ground.
Well, and I think it was a tremendous move for our football team. It's paid some dividends, and he played really well the other night. And then when we go over to the offensive side of the football, I think we were very consistent offensively. We played a football team that was only giving up 10 points a game.
Right.
And a lot of those 10 points that they'd given up was when they were playing their younger kids against somebody's backups. And we ran the football for 285. I think we called 4 pass plays the other night. 1 was incomplete, 2 were for touchdowns, and 1 the quarterback pulled it down and scrambled on. So,
well, you had over 350 total yards of offense thereabouts. You had 2 backs, again, over 100 yards, and a quarterback that threw for 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah, I mean,
in a state playoff game.
Our production was good. Not a lot of penalties. Now, we had 2 turnovers running the football. Marcus Adams had a fumble, and Jaquez Evans had a fumble that we lost. But both of those young men, their fumbles were not careless fumbles.
Marcus was really, really fighting hard for extra yardage, I noticed from up top.
And then Jaquez, the kid for them, did a great job. He was coming off, bouncing off of one guy, and the next guy in put his helmet right on the football, created that turnover. And then we had a turnover on a punt return. And that was an effort situation. They ended up with 5 or 6 guys there after he made a couple of misses. And he got wadded up in a pile, and I think before he got to the ground, somebody was able to rip it out. And, that one, we felt like we could have not had that turnover had we been a little bit smarter, held the ball high and tight, and got on the ground, because you were really in a position right there where you weren't going to get any more out of it. Our kicking game was good at times, and it was bad at times, and those are just some areas that we talked about in our touchdown club meeting. Kicking game scenarios are hard to coach. However,
kickers are different breeds.
Well, and I'm not just talking about kickers. I'm talking about kickoff coverage, people that are in their lanes, people that are getting out of their lanes, little things that you harp on and you coach on. And as a football player, you've got to have the discipline to stay within the framework of the team. And you've got to do the things that are important for your job, and then react and go make plays. It's no different than being a defensive lineman. If you're responsible for a particular gap, you can't go running out of that gap trying to go somewhere else, because here comes a counter or the back makes a good cut and he goes right back to where you were supposed to be. So, those are all areas that we got to get better in.
I think Irish Nation has really been proud of your sophomore Potter, though, that has done some really good things for us this year.
Potter is a young man that's learning on the fly. He's got very good leg strength. He's, for a sophomore, his distance is pretty doggone good. We need more time with him in the weight room, which we'll be able to get.
We'll get it.
Between now and this time next year, and I look for those kicks that are at the 5 to be 2 yards deep in the end zone this time next year. We've got to get a little more consistency with him in his approach to the football. I think that's important. We've missed something here this year and a lot of last year.
Yes, we have.
That we've had for a long time, and that's the kicking coach in George Hagler. His health issues have just not allowed him to play a role in working with these kickers the last couple of years.
And he's shown just a little.
Oh, there's no question it's shown. When you've got a quality coach and that person, for whatever reason, is no longer there, it's hard to replace. And trying to replace somebody that's the caliber of George Hagler, I don't know that you can. And so we've got to do a better job now, I think, unless we can get Coach Hagler back, getting our kids off to some individualized instructional camps. Hopefully find a way to locate another individual who is a kicker that can work with these young men more one-on-one basis. Hire another kicking coach if that's what we've got to do down the road. But we're all hoping and praying that Coach Hagler's health conditions get straightened out and he's able to be here and have a little more input with these young men on a daily basis.
He's meant a lot to the Dublin High School football program for many, many, many years.
No doubt.
Coach, we wish you well and wish you to
he wants to be here so bad. He calls me every week checking on these young men and seeing how they're doing. And we just hope Pop makes it back. And before we take our break, I just want to, make sure that we shout out to everybody. You know, it's Thanksgiving week.
It is.
We all have a great deal to be thankful for. The people here in Lawrence County right now have got 2 football programs playing this week in the state quarterfinals. That's a testament to the rec department, the things that have gone on with these young kids growing up, to the school systems for supporting their athletic programs, to the booster clubs that are out raising money to help these programs be successful.
And the parents, a lot of the parents that
and that's where I'm headed.
that were putting these kids in.
At the end of the day,
It's the parents.
without the parental support that these young kids have, we wouldn't be able to still be celebrating high school football season in Lawrence County this time of the year.
Right. Well, I know your booster club. We had a packed house last night.
Good turnout.
We did,
you know,
you've had a lot of really good parental support from the parents of some of these players this year. I won't mention all their names. They know who they are. They're dear to me, and I think it's been great the last 3 years for us.
Well, it really has, and I think, you know, a lot of that credit needs to go to Mitch Warnick and his leadership that he provides with this Dublin Touchdown Club. You can count on Mitch when you need something.
Absolutely.
You can count on him to do whatever he can within his power to be able to make those things happen. And his leadership, I think, has done a great job of helping grow this booster club back to the area that we're looking for.
A lot to be thankful for this
A lot
week.
to be thankful for. You know, we've always felt like that if you have the opportunity to play on Thanksgiving week, you've had a good football season. I think that kind of is a measuring stick at Dublin High School. If you've had a good season, you've made it to this point. Now, we got to go back and we got to do better than what we did last year. We didn't pull it out on Thanksgiving week, and we'll take us a break, come back and see what we can get into.
We'll take a break, have a word from our sponsors, and be back and talk about Hateville Charter.
Allen's Heating and Cooling is your licensed Amana equipment dealer. Trust Allen's Heating and Cooling to install and service your heating and cooling unit. Allen services all brands, and with the purchase of a new Amana, offers a lifetime compressor warranty. Call Sean Clark or any of his friendly staff at Allen's Heating and Cooling, your Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts.
From humble beginnings with a desire to serve the Dudley community, Bank of Dudley has grown to 5 locations, serving Lawrence, Twiggs, and surrounding counties. Serving our community since 1905, the Bank of Dudley is looking forward to its 2nd century of community banking. Drop in today to any of our 5 locations: Jeffersonville, Dudley, East Dublin, Veterans Boulevard, and downtown Dublin. Bank of Dudley, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. Bruce Birch and the staff at Dublin Wind Waterworks is proud to offer waterworks products by the best brands in the industry. If you're looking for quality products and top-notch service, give us a call today at 272-2026. Our experts know your industry and can answer any of your questions. Wind Waterworks, 509 Airport Road, Dublin.
The holidays are a time for giving thanks. At Dublin Nissan, we're thankful every day that you trust us for the right vehicle at the right price.
Now at Dublin Nissan, drive the Altima Platinum for as low as $28,325.
New or used, drive home in a new ride for the holidays.
Now at Dublin Nissan, drive the Rogue S for as low as $22,855.
Sales, service, and satisfaction. Call, click, or come see us. Dublin Nissan, the only dealer you will ever need.
You've got miles and miles of grass to mow. So you're going to need a machine built to perform. Day in and day out. Season after season. You're going to need a Gravely. Built to mow the distance.
Now at Myers Equipment and Supply in Dublin.
And we're back with the Dublin High School Coaches Show. I'm here with Head Defensive Coordinator Nick Collins for the Fighting Irish. Coach Collins, good to have you on for a little bit this morning. great victory against Bremen last week. Team giving up just 10 points a game. Our offense looked real good. But what Coach Holmes and I talked about first, right off the bat, was how well our defense played last week. 5 interceptions. I think every back had an interception. I don't think that's ever happened here at Dublin High School. 2 for pick sixes. And we just want to congratulate you and your scheme on what you came up with against Bremen.
Well, I appreciate it. I thought the guys played with a lot of confidence. And that's one of the things we've been talking about week in and week out is we have to start playing with some confidence. And we've started to put some games together where we're doing some really good things, and I think we're peaking at the right time.
Right. And, Coach, I believe we got Gabe Guyton back last week, who's one of our defensive starters, one of our special team starters. And I'm sure that made you feel good to get somebody back there in the backfield that has some experience, along with Quay Ashley and
it doesn't hurt to have a guy back there that's been kind of your quarterback back there all year. I think we're very capable with a lot of guys back there, but you get into a comfort zone with certain guys, and you get into a rhythm, and having a guy back there that's used to making the calls, making the checks, kind of being the center figure of the secondary was definitely a plus for us.
Right. Do you think, and what we've seen from the stands and up top, is this secondary that you've kind of put back together has really come into their own the last 3 weeks. I think it's helped with some of the leadership from some of your senior linebackers, because most of your safeties are younger guys, aren't they?
They are. We've got very young guys in the safety group. Quay Ashley just being a sophomore, Gabe being a first-year starter. He was a quality backup for us last year, but really stepping out front this year and being a starter. Those guys back there have had to do some on-the-job training in a hurry, especially with Kendall Wade going down after week 2 and having to make some of the adjustments we did on the back end. And it's taken a little time to put it together. It's taken a little time to get the guys to where they truly understand how to play off of each other.
Right.
And that's been something we've stressed the last few weeks. I think part of the reason we've gotten in trouble some defensively is we've had guys who felt like they need to do a little bit more somewhere else, trying to compensate for a younger guy or an inexperienced guy, and it's kind of put us in a bind. And I think now everybody's understanding I have a job to do, just do what I'm responsible for, and it'll all come together.
Right. And how much has it helped you to get Jaquez Evans out of his linebacker spot and get his hand back on the ground to help Romello Height on that defensive pressure?
Well, I think, Coach says it all the time. He's told him every week. The best pass coverage is a good pass rush. And,
that's right.
It's a little easier to cover guys when the quarterback is constantly being harassed or having to run around or get the ball out when he doesn't want to. And now you see it up front. We're getting a little bit more constant pressure, and I think with that constant pressure, we're forcing the quarterbacks into some bad decisions.
Well, I noticed the other night, first pass I think Bremen's quarterback threw, Jaquez Evans went ahead and put him on his back pretty hard. The rest of the game, it seemed like he and Romello Height, who was our TV player of the game, as a matter of fact, Friday night, pretty much had their way putting pressure on the quarterback.
Well, they did, and I think the thing that helps, ultimately it helps our tackles. And Barrick Wadley and Khalil White inside are 2 really quality tackles. And Barrick Wadley had a sack last week. He had the sack after the quarterback was forced into the pocket. And so when they're not able to escape and they have to stay in the pocket, it becomes a little problem for them. The week before against Early, we batted down a couple of passes because they were forced to stay in the pocket and have to throw the ball over our front linemen. So those guys being outside, the pressure that they give is really, really awesome for us defensively, and it really puts us in great shape to make big plays on the back end.
It's a good defensive scheme against Bremen last week. You always come up with one. I enjoy coming in here midweek and talking with you and kind of picking your brain a little bit and seeing what you're going to do. We've got a different booger coming this week down here out of Atlanta, the Atlanta airport area, Hapeville Charter down here. What kind of challenges are they going to pose for you?
Well, every team gives you something different in a positive for them or a negative for them. they're going to throw the ball a little bit differently than most people. They've got two big-time receivers. They've got a quarterback that can really get the ball out there. So, it's not going to be any different really from what we've been facing the previous weeks, just, what they do.
I hear that a lot out of you. Every week it just seems like, Nelson, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be a different group.
Exactly. And, there are some advantages for us. You look at, having coached in that area, and, I'm friends with both their offensive and defensive coordinator, and, working with those guys in camps and the things that we do, you kind of have a feeling for them. And you kind of know what they like and what they don't like, and
tendencies
a little bit. But they're going to travel, and they're going to face some things this week in travel they've not faced all year. They've not played on grass all year.
Really?
They've not played on the field with the crown.
They've played on turf all year.
This is the first time they've played a wing T team in a while, but first time they're going to play a team defensively since probably week 2 up front that is probably better than them. I feel like up front, our front four is really, really, really good, and they're going to face a front four that I think is going to be able to give them some problems.
Well, they've played two really tough teams this year, I know. In Alatoona, I think they tied.
They did.
And
they were beat by Cedar Grove.
And Cedar Grove, which is a AAA team, number 2 in AAA. Both of those teams are in the quarterfinals, I believe, this week.
And again, taking nothing away from those guys, they're a very, very good football team. They're state champions 2 years ago. But again, I think it's not as much about them as it is about us.
Right.
And
you always say that.
And that's what I stress to our guys. What is it that we can control? And as long as we do the things that we're supposed to do, we're always in a position to be successful.
Right. Coach, thank you. We'll take a break and have a word from our sponsors and be right back.
Quality products and installations since 1985. That's 4 Seasons. Friendly Gus has everything you need this football season. From our everyday value items like a $2.99 2-piece dark meat chicken snack, or our fish pork chop 3-piece dark or 2-piece white meat snack for just $5.50. Friendly Gus caters. Order one of our 20, 40, or 60-piece chicken finger or wing platters. And don't forget the tater logs. Friendly Gus is your one-stop shop for tailgating parties. Our food is always fresh and our service is always friendly. Friendly Gus with locations throughout Middle Georgia. Shop Cochran Brothers Cash and Carry at 320 South Jefferson Street for additional tailgate items like paper products, chicken wings, bulk drinks, spices, sauces, and more.
With Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance, I can get auto, home, life, even banking all in one place. Pretty convenient if you ask me.
Always the home team, Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Visit us online at gfbinsurance.com.
Good. Brad Grimes. I think I'm smelling some gas in my yard out here.
All right, and what area are you smelling at?
Over here in this area, the meter's on that side over there.
Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna check the meter, make sure there's not a leak there.
Okay.
And then we'll locate the line out and put down a couple holes just to check on the ground to make sure you don't have a leak. We'll check each corner of your house. If you could, just stay on the porch.
Okay.
If you think you have a gas leak, we're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Call us at 478-277-5048.
Physical therapist and athletic trainer from Rehab Advantage in Sports Medicine. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to some of our workshops here at Rehab Advantage. We've been hosting workshops every 3 weeks, some for low back pain, shoulder pain, arthritis, and for balance and vertigo problems. And so feel free, we'd love to have you come. We'd love to share information with you about these injuries and how you can get well naturally from these things. And we just love to tell you more about it right here at Rehab Advantage. We usually have them hosted at 6 p.m. on Thursday evenings. That does change sometimes, so be sure to look at our website or give us a call 478-275-1800.
And we're back with Coach Holmes here. Coach, it was good to have Coach Collins come in and give his take on what the defensive side of the ball does, his philosophy, and he's a great guy to talk to during the week. Touchdown Club guys love coming in, talking to him, picking his brain. He's a brilliant defensive coordinator that you have on your staff here, and a great guy too.
He's a super person, number one, and our kids respond very well with Coach Collins. Now he will get in there behind the ends when they're not getting it done the way it needs to be. And,
you can hear him from here to the mall some days.
And we appreciate that in him too. And I think our kids understand, and it's just real in the fact that, one of my old coaching mentors years ago, a guy I looked up to, I never coached for him, but I was around him a lot because I wanted to learn from him. He used to talk about, you can get on them as hard as you want to get on them, as long as you love them just as hard on the other end.
And he shows to love.
Yeah, and that's huge. All of our coaches work very closely with these young men, and that's the thing that a lot of the people don't really appreciate sometimes, that there are bonds and there are relationships that are built among players and coaches. There are times when players don't necessarily like their coach, and that's understandable too, in the sense that they want to do things the way they want to do them, when they want to do them, and they don't like to be corrected and told what to do. Well, unfortunately, you and I both know
that's teenagers.
At 60 years old, we still have people we have to answer to, and
right.
the things that we've got to be able to
I have more than one.
Justify, yeah. And so
you do too.
So there's no question. And at the end of the day, that's part of the learning process.
It is.
And and we're all in this thing together. We constantly try to talk to our young men around here about, at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to be thought of as a very good football coach if we don't win games. I know that we're not going to win a lot of games unless we've got a group of players that are able to go out and do the things that we're trying to coach them to do. We also hope that they understand and appreciate the fact that when we get into a football game on Friday night and things have changed from what we thought was going to happen, and we come in at halftime and we are having to make adjustments offensively and defensively, we hope these young men have the confidence and trust and understand without our abilities as a coaching staff to help make those changes, they can't be as good as they want to be. So we're all in this thing together at the end of the day. And
well, this group that you've got, I think, is the last 2 years, these seniors you're bringing in here, like 22-3 maybe over the last 2 years thereabouts. So they've listened well.
Yeah, and then this is the largest group of 4-year seniors that we've had probably in the last 6 years. Kind of went through a run there where kids would come out, kids would quit, kids would play their freshman year and disappear or not come out their freshman and sophomore year and want to come out when they're a junior. And most of the time, that doesn't work. It's just not a positive thing. You've got to come out in the 9th grade. You've got to start learning the system from the ground up. You've got to get over on the scout team, and you've got to get trapped as a D lineman. You've got to get beat on a hitch and go and an out and up if you're in the secondary. Those are all learning experiences that kids who are not willing to come out and go through that process, some of them may be able to help you, but the reality of it is they're really not going to ever they cannot catch up and regain the knowledge that they lost.
Special group
when
you've
they
got.
didn't play.
Special group you've got this year. I think these guys have stuck together pretty much since rec ball.
Yeah, it's a good
and
group.
it shows if you can get a team to the quarterfinals. It's generally one of those teams that's got some superb athletes that has stayed together pretty much through parental coaching at the rec ball level, and then we get them to you and we turn them over to you and they've got to learn that wing T blocking scheme. So,
and they do a good job.
Yeah. We'll take a break and we'll come right back.
I'm Glenn Register at Hometown Supply. Want to wish all our area schools the very best in the upcoming season. Hometown Supply, located in downtown Dublin, is here for all your home and hardware needs. We offer new and used appliances, both gas and electric. Competitive prices on electronics and computers, including cell phones, laptops, and tablets. We have service people on staff, a repairman for our appliances, and a computer technician for our electronics. Come by and see how we can help. Just remember, if you can't do business here, you just can't do business.
Life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
Matt Hatchett, your District 150 representative for Lawrence, Truitland, and Johnson counties, is proud to support our local high schools. Matt and his family is proud of our East Lawrence Falcons, Trinity Crusaders, the Dublin High Fighting Irish, the West Lawrence Raiders, the Truitland County Vikings, and the Johnson County Trojans. Matt Hatchett, your District 150 representatives. Go team!
Dublin Ford Lincoln is honored to call many well-respected and wonderful people our friends. Bert Thigpen is one of those friends.
It's just an easy process for me because they're with you when you buy it, but the main thing, they're with you after you buy it, then they give you the service after you buy it. And that makes, to me, that's three factors that I really look at. And they've done that ever since I've been here.
Others call you customers, we call you friends. That's Dublin Ford Lincoln.
Hey, want a successful career? Start with an education that puts you front and center with hands-on experience. An education that will prepare you for opportunity in 2 years or less. An education that's fast and affordable. Most OFTC students graduate debt-free thanks to the Hope Career Grant, which offers free tuition in more than 63 programs. Think differently about college. Choose OFTC for an education that's fast, local, and debt-free. OFTC is an equal opportunity institution.
All right, and we're back. Coach, bringing Hateful Charter Hornets down here into the Shamrock Bowl Friday night. From what I understand, they have two pretty big 6'2", 6'3" wide receivers, major D1 offers from different places, a quarterback that can throw the ball around, he can run, a tailback in there about 190, 195 pounds, pretty shifty, that can get down the sideline if he needs to. So tell us what I'm not going to say your fears are, but what your thoughts are on this group they're bringing in there.
Starting with the offense, and I know you've already heard from Coach Collins, but yes, their wide receivers are big time, got a lot of stars by their name, receivers. Their ability to gain yards after catch is extremely impressive. Taking a short route, forcing a guy to miss a tackle, or their athletic ability causes a guy to miss a tackle, and it turns into a big explosive play. Their tailback.
So our safeties and our corners are going to have to tackle well.
We got to tackle well in space, and that is the major concern, is how well we can tackle in space against 6'3", 190-pound receivers. It's not a small task, especially when you're not very big in the secondary. Their running back very well may be the best running back we've played against this year. He runs with power. He's not easy to tackle. He does have the speed to bounce the thing to the perimeter and outrun your linebackers if they're not scraping inside out with good angles. He's got the ability to outrun them.
Your outside linebackers, both are going to have to be on cue.
They're going to have good nights. There's no question about that. Their quarterback throws the ball very well on a rhythm. When he catches the football, it's basically 1, 2, 3, ball out. And so he knows where he's going. He throws a nice spiral. I wish he couldn't run or he wouldn't run, but he does.
He can run.
And he's got good speed. He broke a long one early in the game the other night against Swainsboro. So he's got the ability to make some big plays, and I think their offensive line is solid. They do the things that Hateville Charter wants to get done very, very well.
Well, they beat Swainsboro pretty good the other night. From what I understand, the game got out of hand kind of quick. Swainsboro was severely beaten up. A lot of freshmen.
Well, I talked to their coach at Swainsboro, and he told me, he said, Coach, he said, we had to start 4 freshmen on the defensive side of the football. We're physically beat up and banged up. Swainsboro had lost both of their running backs to injury here in the last couple of weeks. And I'm sure they wouldn't use it for an excuse, and I wouldn't either. But now Hateville Charter is very, very explosive. I think for us, playing a really good first quarter is very important Friday night, and not letting them just jump all over you with both feet because of their speed and their athleticism. And you can't take your scout team and simulate it on the practice field.
Well, they're going to score points, but I think your Dublin Irish are going to score points too.
Well, we're certainly hopeful that we can. You know, defensively for them, they play out of an 8-man front. They play out of a 4-4. From all indications, unless at camps or something, they haven't played against a wing T football team since Benedictine in 2017.
On grass, on a field with a crown.
Well, yep, we hope that becomes a little bit of a factor. You know, it's different for quarterbacks. When you're on flat ground, level ground, and that's what you throw off of all the time, it can take some adjustments to be on the money throwing off of a crown. You don't know that will be a factor, but it could be. But talking about them defensively again, they've got 1 defensive tackle in there. He wears number 56, and according to some stats that we found, we talk about Romello Height being a great pass rusher, and we all know that he is. Well, Romello's sitting there with 17 sacks on the season. That defensive tackle for them has got 20. So he's very athletic and can move around. They've got a defensive end that's offered. I'm not sure. I think he may be committed to Georgia Tech. Reminds me a lot of Steve Linton last year. He's about a 6'3", 195 kid that is explosive off the football, uses an outside pass rush, will also use an inside pass rush. If you set too deep to try to take away his speed off the edge, he'll beat you inside. Their other D tackle they play a great deal is 6'8" and 275. Big old body up inside that hard to handle. And then their other defensive end is very similar to the one on the other side, maybe not quite as fast on his first step. Secondary-wise, they're going to play a 3 deep, it appears. They're not going to, I don't think, allow you to run them out of what they do defensively.
The 2 of them are already, I believe, been nominated or made all-region.
Yeah, they're real good football players. Their linebacker crew is quick, explosive. I think when you look at them on film, the most thing that jumps out to you is when somebody gets into space against them, how quickly 5 of their helmets show up to where the football is. So, you know, we've got a major chore. Their kicking game, their place kicker is going to kick the football to the goal line or into the end zone pretty consistently. You'll be able to have an opportunity for some returns, but they could be few and far between. It would be all right with me, and I don't look for it to be this way, but it'd be fine with me if they didn't kick off but one time, and that's either start the game or start the half. But
they're bringing a lot down here.
Yeah,
but
we believe that we've got to have a good night offensively. We do not need to turn the football over. It would be great if we could control the clock, time of possession. But that stat is often misleading, when you look at our stats for the season, we trail in time of possession, and we're a run football team. But at the end of the night, seems like the other team had the ball longer than we did.
We've had a lot of explosive plays this year on a grinded out running attack, it seems like.
Yeah, and we wouldn't.
That's fine too.
We wouldn't turn one of those big play touchdowns into a concern because we didn't burn a lot of clock.
Ziggy had a couple of long ones the other night, and you're never going to turn those down.
Nope, and the thing that
forgot to mention his.
Yeah, we've got to do Mark. We've got to get better right now. We're just struggling a little bit with Marcus. He's getting loose. The last couple of games has been a little bit of a problem.
Tremendous player for us. Though.
Yeah, and and the tough thing for him and Jaquez and Jalen Carter, for example, is the number of reps that those kids have got under their belt this year, basically being two-way players and not being able to ever get off the field and get rest.
Well, I come back here in the hospital, as I call it, back here on Thursdays, and it seems like there's 5 or 8 of them back there with ice packs. They all got ice packs on their shoulders. Mark, Jalen Carter, one of our defensive studs, they're all iced down.
Well, it's that time of year. And, we were talking yesterday with one of our players in particular. It hurts. And it's not going to quit hurting until about 2 weeks after we get done playing. So, hey, that's the way it is. That's the way playoff football is. Mentality's got to be hard-nosed and tough. And again, as we kind of started the show, closed the show, it's Thanksgiving week. We've all got a lot to be thankful for.
Yes, we do, Coach.
We hope you enjoy the time with your family, and then show up at the Shamrock Bowl Friday night, 7:30, and let's see if we can help these Irish move on.
7:30 Friday night against the Hateville Hornets. Come out. The Booster Club, Dublin Touchdown Club, will have a huge tailgate. Most everybody's off Friday, so we'll be out here probably from 12 o'clock on. Anybody that would like to come join us, please do. Go Irish.
At Morris Bank, we understand that your personal finances and banking experiences can be stressful. We also know that it doesn't have to be that way. That's why for over 60 years, we've dedicated ourselves to providing common sense banking to people just like you.
Even when I started working here, there was a definite vibe that you felt when you walked in the door, from the music that you're always going to hear playing to the hello, good to see you, welcome, how can we help you? It's just a different experience when you bank here.
We work hard to combine the latest online mobile technology and top-notch customer service that allows us to do just that.
We realize our customers have choices, but what sets us apart is the personal service that we provide that they may not receive at larger institutions. We like to make you feel at home, and we like to make the process as easy as possible when you're banking with us.
But we're not focused on helping just our customers. We are equally dedicated to supporting the community we are a part of. Just this year alone, we've logged thousands of community service hours and provided significant financial support to the communities we serve.
Something that sets us apart at Morris Bank is what we give back to the communities in which we serve. And as the communities continue to grow, that brings more business and more industry into the area, and it's just this circle effect of giving back and receiving what the community can offer.
We want to make sure you have the best banking experience possible. Come see us or give us a call to find out what makes Morris Bank different, because we're banking on you.